Welcome back. You are watching the Nigeria vice presidential debate on NN24. Now, Mr. Adiola, I don't mean to make light of this, but do you really believe that someone tried to kill you with goats a few days ago?
No.
So can you explain to us what actually happened and why it was reported in the press almost as if it was something that somebody set out to deliberately do?
You read my account of the event?
I saw the media account of the event.
Yes, my account of the event was also in the media. We had an accident that we shouldn't have had. And the only reason you learned about it was because I was the one flying, a vice presidential candidate. So many people could have lost their lives in that manner, and I understand it's been happening. The guy at the station said he had written so many letters and so on and so forth. Maybe it's not profitable to fence Bauchi Airport by those who are given to fence it. And I told a story. When Dora Akunyili was in NAFDAC, I asked her to explain her job to me. And she said her job was that if you allowed any fake drug to enter this country, she would deem herself a murderer. And I said for anybody who had responsibility for Bauchi Airport to allow that kind of thing to be happening, until that person accepts that by allowing it to be happening is a murderer, then he cannot do the job properly. I don't think anybody set out to kill me, but the fact of irresponsibility, ineptitude, set out to kill me. So I really don't know what the point is now.
What I'm trying to get you to explain to us is whether you actually hold the PDP responsible for the fact that you almost died.
The PDP runs the federal government of Nigeria. Whether it was me or an ordinary citizen, the PDP must be responsible for what happened to me in Bauchi. The airport was unsafe. We didn't ask them to keep the airport open. Mark you, we pay landing charges for using the airport. If the airport was unsafe, let them shut the airport. Opening the airport suggests that it is safe. And there is somebody known as Minister for Federal Aviation. There is somebody who comes on the television that says he has got... In fact, one of the things that the president said recently was we've got something from America on our airport. An airport that is goat infested? I mean, give me a break.
Pastor Bakari, are you satisfied with the state of airports in Nigeria? Because of course we have more than the airport in Bauchi. We've got many airports.
Definitely not. It does not appear that the PDP-led government cares about the citizens of this country. If it were the president flying into that place, there perhaps will not be any fly on the runway, which simply shows they see themselves as rulers and not as servant leaders. For it to have happened at all, I must tell you I panicked because he's from my hometown, he's my brother, he's my friend, no evil must befall him, and if they do not take care of our airports, they have no business being in government. And I tell you what, just as Chief Oyegun said, he talked about a fanfare. I'm not at all disappointed by it. It is a farewell party that PDP is having across Nigeria.
Now,
our roads are bad. Our airports are not safe, and you do not want to imagine the humongous budget year after year in these 12 years that are wasted years when resource wasters have been in charge of the economy and of the government. We have no roads to show for it, no safe airports to show for it, and yet you hear of trillions and trillions. That must stop. And Nigerians are saying enough is enough.
Now it's interesting that you mentioned the issue of elections and your belief that the PDP are doing some sort of swan song before they leave power. A few days ago, General Buhari, your principal, was quoted as saying people should defend their votes. Now, there have been different versions of what he said. It has been said that he said people should lynch anybody who tries to steal their votes. Others have said, no, that was not exactly what he said. Can you clarify for us now exactly what he said and whether actually you are telling Nigerians that it is okay in the service of democracy for them to spill their blood?
General Buhari never said anyone should spill blood. If he had wanted to do that, he would not have spent 50 months, that's more than 4 years, within the court system to prove his case that he won the elections that were rigged in 2003 and 2007. But in this year, 2011, he said, we are not going to courts at all. We will settle all this at the polls because of the level of awareness and awakened citizenry of people who are willing to protect their own votes. A few weeks back, we were with Commonwealth group that came here, General Buhari and I, and we said to them, unlike in the West, where there are institutions that will protect citizens' votes, we do not have such institutions here. Jega might be a clean man. He inherited a machinery that is totally perverse and still corrupt because evil officials are still the ones operating under Jega. And this is our position. We will not trust Jega until after the election. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Every Nigerian citizen must rise, not only to vote, those of voting age, but to protect their votes because it's their voice, and their voice must be heard. And anyone trying to stop that is playing with Yemen, with Tunisia, with Egypt, rolled together. Is called the revolt of the poor.
Pastor Bakari, you've run out of time, but you've said something so interesting that I am going to have to follow it up. It does sound as if, you know, you are talking about some sort of threat. People listening out there will think your party is saying we will take to the streets because Egypt, yes, there were demonstrations, but people died. So what exactly are you saying? Because we will live here and you say maybe you were misquoted.
No, I didn't say people should kill anyone. Yemen, Egypt, Tunisia is the ruling class pushing the people to the wall. The truth of the matter is, when people say enough is enough, they mean it. In the days or in recent times in Kano, the election that brought in Shekarau into power was because people rose up to defend their votes. It's recorded. They went with jerry cans in their hands, match in one hand, jerry can carrying petrol in the other. They cast their votes, and they followed those who were carrying the ballot from place to collation center. It got to a point, a critical point, that they started calling Asorok, and they were speaking to Obasanjo, and he's alive to confirm this, that we cannot change these figures like we used to. That's what we are talking about.